This will be the last real-time update. And this will continue some of the local issues I talked about on the other real-time update for today. Let me try to give some advice. And if Mr. Mark Gonzales, the DA, watches these videos like people watch his on Facebook, which I do not, what is the advice I would give? When Mark Gonzales came into office, was elected as the DA, he came in as a young person, fine. Some people thought he was maybe not up to the job or mature enough. He wore like sports things, Cowboys things, with official things, okay, had tattoos and all. I didn't judge on any of that. But on this particular case, where a police officer is still on the job today, though having admitted to a felony, you could recharge him on that particular felony, and this is why. We had a couple of famous cases in the media recently. One, the Bill Cosby case. He finally got convicted. But what they used in the Bill Cosby case was statements that he made initially with agreements that he had, they're not going to pursue. But those statements later were used. And in a very famous case up in the Massachusetts area, having to do with the Kennedy family, you had the case of Michael Skakel, who was part of the Kennedy family, and he was convicted eventually from an infamous murder case of a girl by the name of Martha Moxley. Now, I read the books. It was interesting to me. Martha Moxley was a young girl, and it was like on a Halloween night, and she was found murdered. Now, for many years, that case went unsolved. And then Mark Fuhrman, famous ex-police officer, then wrote books and all. He wrote some books about it. But the point, what does that have to do with this? When Michael Skakel later was in a drug rehab, supposedly he made a confession later on in a rehabilitation program to the murder of Martha Moxley. Now, that was challenged and all, but the court used that confession many, many, many years earlier. In the case of the Mathis police officer, if he admitted at the time and said, I did choke out my girlfriend, because what he told the DA and what he told the cops in his statements were, I did not do this, but we were having rough sex. Now, Mr. Gonzales, according to what's been reported in the Kohler Times and the media, he said somehow the girlfriend or the fiance, which happens a lot in domestic violence, she then was going to change her testimony or whatever. So the deal that Mr. Gonzales' office made with this Mathis police officer, he did not tell the truth in the deal. And the deal that Mr. Gonzales made, basically, he kind of seemed to indicate we didn't have a strong case, and he never admitted to us. They were fabricating. Something else happened, rough sex and this and that. Then the deal was made for pretrial diversion. Later on, this officer, now known to the whole South Texas community, because the Kohler Times actually published that he himself confessed to a felony crime during this rehabilitation program. Michael Skakel, Bill Cosby, the office of Nueces County DA's office never made an agreement with him admitting to the felony. He was going to fight it, and he was lying. He has since confessed to a felony crime. The office at this point, you didn't agree with him acknowledging a felony. He wasn't going to acknowledge it. You have every right to simply bring the charges again, because he never admitted that. He never said, and what we know is he was lying in that case. You could refile on that. It's not that he has to face prison or anything. He would just have to plea, probation, whatever, but then he would not be an officer, which he should not be. That's what you can do if you want to do the just thing, if you're going to do the right thing. And I just gave you some examples of how confessions later made in a rehabilitation or recovery can indeed be used in a court. You say, but that wouldn't be fair, we made an agreement. In the agreement, he was lying. Okay? Do the just thing, Mark.